All right, so now probably some interesting news, and the guys that we just can't get away from: Devin Haney, Javante Davis, I guess Ryan Garcia, and even Adrian Broner has found himself into this equation. Rolly Romero. So of course Devin Haney has collected a belt at 140, right? You know, he's saying he wants to fight Tank. You know, Devin Haney's motto, they say everything but fight. Apparently there's $20 million on the table. Tank was like, man, I don't need that 20 million. He's like, I'll call the shots. You know what I'm saying? Which in a sense, I think I'd say this. In a sense, is kind of fair because it sounds like Tank and Ryan made more than 20 million in their last fight, right? That's just what it sounds like from what people have said. I don't know for sure. So if Ryan being the B side made more than 20 million in that last fight, then you know I can see why 20 million probably isn't an enticing offer for Tank. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know, you could have just said, hey, whatever, there's a way to make more money, but and nevertheless, Tank says I'm calling the shots here. So Ryan jumps in and Ryan is like, hey, he's not going to fight you at 140 and he's not going to fight you without a rehydration clause. So you might as well just forget about it now and fight me after I get Rolly out of there in March. So Ryan is supposed to, you know, fight Rolly, and then I guess that would be Ryan's path to collecting a belt, unified with Devin. But apparently, Rolly's not going to fight Ryan anymore. He's going to fight Adrian Broner. And I don't know. It's just a whole lot of drama and mix up. So what do you think? What in the world do you think is actually going on here?
Man, it's really hard to say. One thing I can say for sure though, going back to the Devin Haney and the Tank Davis situation, right? Well, Bill Haney claiming the 20 million. Sometimes I take what Bill say with a grain of salt because we've uncovered a lot of some of his lies, right, in the past. So sometimes it's like we don't really know if that is the truth. But nevertheless, right, Devin Haney is saying that he's not going to go back down to 135 and he's not going to accept any rehydration clause, right? Which Ryan attributed in his tweet. Tank Davis, right, already also mentioned that he's not really looking to move up to 140. He didn't like how he felt when he fought Marios Barrios, right? Because I went back to actually kind of uncover some footage on that. And he's going to campaign at 135. Plus, with his history of imposing rehydration clauses, right? So I don't know how they're going to get past those two variables, right? Mm-hmm. Let alone just one. So I think honestly, the Haney team just got to forego the Tank Davis fight. I don't see why they're looking backwards at a 135 pounder and wanting to. I know he's the cash cow, right? You want to make that money, but if you're not willing to go back down to 135 and he's the A side, and you're not willing to kind of go through rehydration clause, which is understandable, then they shouldn't even be talking about it because at this point, it's not really going to happen. You know what I mean? Regardless of what the fans want, it just doesn't make sense. You know, and Ryan Garcia is right? Try to set up a fight between him. There's a lot to unpack there, but that's just my point.
True. There's one more thing Tank said. I'm gonna get back to that in a second, but Devin, right? Like I understand the not wanting the rehydration clause, but I will say this too. I think Devin be wilding because they're saying he came in at 165 versus Regis Prograis and just 25 pounds above the weight class limit. And this is not the first time we've heard about this. We've heard Mauricio Suleiman talk about how much he rehydrates. And, and that's a lot, bro. 25 pounds is a lot. So, and I mean, he's not out there knocking people out. So I guess people are saying, why do you care how big he comes in? But it's just, I just feel like there has to be some kind of line drawn. Like, come on, bro. There's no way a fighter can come in this, you know what I'm saying? I feel like they have to draw some kind of line in the sand on that. But Tank also made mentions of Devin being with Snack and saying, didn't they get caught for cheating and doing this? Of course, Victor Conti. And I mean, they have some good fighters on their roster over at Snack. And I mean, they haven't been busted. I don't think Snack themselves have been busted for something. I think Victor was busted before he started the Snack program. But I'll say this, maybe they might not be cheating at Snack. You know what I'm saying? I like some of the fighters they have at Snack, but there's always going to be that stigma. And I do think it's rightfully so because of who's the face behind the operation.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a crazy call out, but or do you actually think it's an excuse Tank is making, like just another excuse to not make this fight happen?
I don't know. I do think Tank, he's trying to impose his version of fairness, right? With a rehydration clause, and that begs the question: should all the sanctioning bodies, right, the belts or boxing in general, start imposing what the IBF imposes, right, with that weight limit?
But not to cut you off, but is the IBF even really exposing this 100? I mean, imposing this 100% because they let Devin rehydrate more than 10 pounds in the Lomachenko fight.
So
You know
this
what
is
I'm
the
saying?
thing.
So
This is the thing, though. So they used to have it. The rule used to be that even if you're holding the belt and you're unifying or you're going to get someone else's belt, it don't matter how many belts you have. If you just hold a holder of the IBF, you still gotta sit within this parameter of the weight clause, right? You still can't rehydrate under these specific circumstances. But I think it was a situation where Danny Jacobs, he ended up just relinquishing the belt so he can rehydrate at a higher weight. And ever since then, they changed the rule. So therefore, now it's like if there's another belt on the line or there's other factors in play, they're not really looking to kind of impose that rehydration limit. So that's why.
man, that's trash. You know what I'm saying? And it just sounds so crazy because Derek James was on record of saying, like, we always been adhering to this. The IBF has always made us adhere to this. And of course, before Terrence Crawford took his 3 belts, Errol Spence had 3 belts. So every time he fought, it was more than just the IBF on the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it was only because he took Sean Porter's belt. He took he beat Calbert's belt,
too.
and then he took Ugas's belt. So I think in the Sean Porter and Ugas fight, he should have been able to rehydrate past the 10-pound limit.
Right.
According to their rules, right? And then every other fight, he has to adhere to the rehydration.
Unless he just didn't get the memo on that or something. I don't know. Because that's just what Derek was saying. Derek was saying, we always got to, because I remember Derek was saying, like, why is anybody complaining? Like, we always got to adhere to these rules. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
Man, it's interesting, but I'll say this though. I don't want Rolly and Broner. I mean, the press conference would be interesting, but I'm not interested in that fight.
Yeah, I don't think that fight is I think if they fought other fighters, it's more interesting. But them two is, I mean, they can, the shit talk is gonna be there, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be some level of interest there because you gotta be honest, Broner is just the entertaining guy, right? That's who he is. He still has some market value, but it's not as exciting compared to, I'm be honest, Ryan versus Rolly. I'm more interested in that type of fight, or Adrian Broner fighting someone else. I'd rather see Adrian Broner fight Devin Haney or even a Matias before he fights Rolly, in my honest opinion. Even though I have Devin Haney and Matias walking through Broner, but that's just how I see it. Because I see Broner as like a gatekeeper at this point. He's not really nowhere near who he was in the past. So
I will. Hopefully they come off of that, and I hope Ryan and Rolly fight. Because I think if Ryan gets a belt, I think then the unifications are super interesting between the 4 belt holders at that point. But I mean, I guess it's only left to be seen what's going to happen. Got to kind of keep an eye out on what they're doing. But I think Matias is PBC, right?
Yep. Matias
okay, and then T.O. is top rank, and then DAZN will have 2 of those guys. So I guess the easiest fight to be made if Ryan beats Rolly would have been like Ryan and Devin. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see those guys mix it up. I think it makes for some good fights at 140. Obviously, dark horse, not too many people talking about Gary Anton Russell probably would like to make his way into that discussion somehow as well.
Yeah.
Richardson Hitchens, another guy who probably want to get himself into that conversation. But man, let me find out 140 is about to take over boxing.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best division right now in boxing at the moment. It's a lot of fireworks, potential fights to be made, in the lower tier, the A tier fighters and the S tier fighters for sure. So
yeah,
we'll have to see. And hopefully, we get some of those fights in 2024,
Okay, so jump in the comment section. Tell us what fights you want to see in 2024. What is the best division in boxing right now? And just Tell us what you think about the 140 mix up. I know there's been a lot of comments on the Matias video. They're like, yo, man, you guys don't know. Matias gonna beat all these guys. Matias is gonna, you know what I'm saying? So, just tell us what you think. Hop in the comment section. 2 cents short of $1. And we out.